Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna continue the story What If Naruto Was Manipulated by Hinata, part 5. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
I got home early because I had a conversation with Naruto, so that my training wouldn't be harmed. I only played with Naruto or met him in the park on days when we were off. Hinata, baby, you came home so early. Didn't you play with your friend? In a cheeky laugh, I gave the little dolls to their new owner. Hee hee, no, mommy. I had my fun, and I thought the babies would be hungry if I stayed any longer. So, I came early. I know you're a good older sister, she told her as she took my sister's hands and began to feed them. HMPH. Yes, I am. And you can have them for tonight. I will be reading in the library. She said with a small bow. Ah, how kind of you, princess. Hee hee hee. I laughed at her antics. I went to the library with a happy grin on my face after making sure my little stomach was full of healthy food. Hee 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 hee. It's time to put another piece in its place. I held the little rabbit in my arms and gently petted him. It comes to me when Haku-chan sleeps. It had grown used to seeing me for 9 months and finally understood how kind I was. Crack. The door opened with a familiar creaking sound, letting the library shine in all its glory. But before I did something bad again, I carefully began to read the scrolls and books that told the story of the clan, how its ancestors used different fighting styles, and some of their jutsu that were based on the gentle fist. As I looked through the scroll and said, here it is, I read what it said. Hee hee. A pretty annoying ability to have, using extreme chakra control to manifest. It will fail at even the slightest mistake in chakra control. A secret high-level Jukin technique taught only to the main family. By changing the shape of the chakra release from both hands, the user greatly increases their reach and destructive power. The arms become entirely like lions which drain the chakra network of those they touch. I studied the skill in front of me. It had such strict requirements that no one in my clan's many generations had been able to use it. Taking away the enemy's chakra was one of the most interesting parts. It's kind of like a developed form of karma seals. It's trying to find its roots. It's funny how underrated the Byakugan is, but it is still the eyes of God, and now they're with their rightful owner. I finished my cocky speech. Then I laughed out loud and put the scroll back where it belonged. It will take some time to fully develop this thing, and maybe I can go further. I have to ask my dear brother to be a guinea pig for me. Hee hee. Ren, please bring me an old book with blank pages and a pen. I put my elbow on the table and called out. Yes, Lady Hinata, he said, and then he blurred out of sight. A moment later, he came back with a book and a pen. Ren stayed with me while his brother Ritsu took care of my little sister. I ripped out an empty page from the book and said, Ren, we're going to see a house tonight. He asked her with a laugh. What are you planning now, my lady? Who's the poor victim this time? It made me feel bad when I looked at Ren and said, it's for the greater good, Ren, as if I were the most moral person in the world. What would a dying father write to his newborn son? Remember, Ren, I asked you that question many months ago? My face lit up with joy. It took him a moment to look at me and then say, I have thought about it many times. Here are my words, Lady Hinata. With my eyes closed and my face serious, I listened to him until I laughed out loud and asked, ha ha ha, Ren, oh Ren, what award do you want? I wiped the tears from my eyes while holding my stomach. Nothing, was his honest answer. Of course, I will reward you for making me laugh, I finally said to calm down. I moved the paper around so it looked like it was written quickly when I picked up the pen. I started to write down what Ren had taught me, but my hand was shaking. A tiny bit of chakra leaked out of a tenketsu near my tear ducts and turned into water drops. It was a beautiful display of unimaginable chakra control. Drip drip. It looked like someone wrote this while their heart was bleeding from pain and guilt because tears were falling on the paper. Ren was shocked and stood still. If his all-seeing eyes hadn't shown him this blasphemous act by the devil, he would have thought this was written by a dying father. Lady Hinata, I will be put right next to you in hell, he said, thinking about how horrible their punishment would be. I asked him with an eyebrow raised after I was done with my sin. It's an honor for you, right? She laughed nervously and said, haha, "You're right, my lady. I will follow you to hell itself." He knew they were going to hell for sure. Now, don't be ashamed of your acts, Ren. You are witnessing the person who is burned with glorious purpose. I walked past him with a cocky grin, which made him feel better. I started to disappear while using my Byakugan to check the position of each guard. Then I said, "Don't just stand there." "Yes, Lady Hinata," Ren said, and he followed me around the guards. We finally got away from the clan. I finally got to the edges of Konoha by scanning the area with my eyes to make sure I didn't run into any random patrolling ninja. I looked at the house from the top of a tree. Some parts of it were broken, like paper bombs had gone off there. A lot of people didn't know who owned this house, but Sarutobi Hiruzen knew for sure, so I looked around again and saw 2 Chunin-level ninjas patrolling. There they are. Now, how should I deal with them? Ren asked me, should I get rid of them? Ren, why are you so violent? Remember that we're professionals. I pulled out a small bomb with a very weak sleeping gas inside. Since they were ninjas, it was enough to knock them out without raising any red flags. I told the bunny, "Little bunny, put this bomb near them, will you?" and gave him a pat on the head and a sweet smile. It learned how to use Haku as well, which was helpful in this case. It did its job well and dropped the bomb near them in a bush. The bunny jumped back into my arms right away. Without making a sound, I took out a senbon needle and carefully poked a hole in the sleeping gas bomb. These things happened in less than 3 minutes, and the ninjas fell asleep for the next 3 minutes. Thud. We fell into the house with a graceful thud. It was old, torn, and full of rocks. By the way, whose house really is this, Lady Hinata? Ren asked her. I smirked and tilted my head and said, "The 4th Hokage, the hero of this village." After giving what I said some thought, he finally asked, "You, what? How do you know where his house is?" Even I didn't know that. I thought only the Hokage knew that? And looked confused. Did you forget who I am, Ren? You're Byakugan. You could also see into the past. His shocked looks were priceless. This seeing into the past and future nonsense is some of the silliest stuff I've ever said, but hey, it works everywhere. I thought I told you, I said. No, you didn't. It must be Ritsu then or Kimimaro. I tried not to touch anything until I got to the door. Since it had an ID seal on it, I knew that brute force wouldn't work to open it. Pulling out a vial with blood in it, I smiled and said, that someone was my Naruto. I used my chakra scalpel to cut his hand when I first told him about the 9 tails. I then took some blood without anyone noticing. It wasn't hard to keep this fresh when I had a natural fridge in my lab. Ren asked, whose blood is this, Lady Hinata? Find out for yourself, Ren. I thought you got smarter, he said. I didn't answer. I put the drop on my thumb and slapped it on the door. The black seals lit up, and the door opened with a loud creak. After 6 years of no one going there, it was dusty and felt almost haunted. On the wall, there were some portraits. I laughed as I turned on my Byakugan and quickly scanned the whole house. Let's see what this house held for us, I said. Inside the closet, there were some robes and kunai that had a teleportation formula written on them. There were, however, no guides for Rasengan or teleportation jutsu. I doubt I would find one. Only a fool would leave these valuable jutsus in a house that isn't watched. This made things easier for me. I took out a scroll and put it behind the clothes. This is the full Rasengan manual. All 3 steps were explained in great detail and shown with pictures. I'll teach Naruto the jutsu, and as I said before, he'll gladly teach me, putting an end to all the rumors about how I know Rasengan. After that, I put an empty jar next to the scroll that was full of green blood. Finally, I went to the table that was set up in the middle of the house. I put down the letter that Minato had written himself, filled with tears and heartbreaking pain. I joked, and put an empty water glass on it. I walked out of the house and told Ren, everything is done. Let's go. Naruto will come here in 3 years to find out the truth about his parents. It's my choice. I can make Minato the best father or the worst father, and Naruto will hate him for the rest of his life. I guess only time will tell, I said as I patted the rabbit on the head and left the house. Before he spoke, Ren was deep in thought. Blonde hair, blue eyes, the 9 tails, the boy, he finally understood. The boy is the son of the 4th, and you planned all of this. You knew it from the moment you laid your demonic eyes on him. He was shocked. He, I got busted. After putting a touching letter and a gift from Naruto-kun's late father in the mailbox, I finally got home. Ren kept looking at me funny, but I didn't pay attention to him. Before coming into my haunted room, I went to check on my little sisters. Let's sleep. Things have been set in motion, and everything is going according to my plan. I put out my hand and let myself sink into my soft bed while I looked up at the ceiling. The next year is going to be without any fun until the cool boy, Itachi, starts massacring his family. If there isn't any fun, I'll make my own. I laughed and thought about the academy as I finally closed my eyes for the night after a long day. When I felt like someone or something was trying to wake me up, I groaned. Slick. Whose days are numbered? I opened my eyes slowly and saw the white rabbit licking my cheeks like a dog to wake me up. I grabbed the rabbit and said, "Oh, it's you." The cute animal smiled at me. It had been a month since then, and today was the first day of school. In the past few months, nothing amazing had happened. He had only been eating, sleeping, and working out. That was how I did things. My mom yelled from the kitchen, "Hinata baby, are you awake?" as she quickly walked toward my room door. I quickly reached out and grabbed a glass of warm milk from her. "Hurry up, sweetie, today is the big day for you. Why are you so excited, mommy? Do you want to send me off so quickly? So you could do something bad behind my back, hee." When the milk was empty, I asked her, "You haven't even fully awakened yet, and you're already messing with me. Come here, let me get you ready." She grabbed me and went into the bathroom without asking. Splash. When she threw me into the tub, the first thing I did was splash water on her face. Her tone was angry as she scrubbed soap all over my body. "You brat, why don't you just behave properly for once? I just love making you mad, hee." When she told me to do something, I smiled and said, "Okay, mommy, I'll do that. But first, I splashed her with some more water." "You." She took a deep breath, smiled at me, and looked at how happy and pure I looked. She dried my body and hair with a towel. She looked at the closet full of clothes and asked, "What do you want to wear, baby? Anything is fine, just cover my body already." With, okay, here, spread your arms," she put on a white kimono for me that had long sleeves, an 8 trigram symbol on the back, and a red sash around my waist. She sat me down on her lap and combed my short, neck-length hair while telling me, "Now you look beautiful, just like a doll." She began, "Listen, sweetheart, don't pick on your classmates." "Okay, mommy, I won't," I lied with a sincere smile. "Don't show your true skills. You are not strong enough to defend yourself." "Okay," I told the truth. "Make some friends and be good with them," she urged. I replied, If someone looks at you weirdly or tries to bully you, tell me or your father, or call Neji immediately. He will be in the academy, okay?" She said more. Pick on me?" Hee. I told my mom, "Okay, mommy. As soon as something happens, I'll call Big Brother, just to make her happy." I knew that my mother would still worry about me even if I got 100 times stronger. That shows how kind and caring she is. "Don't worry," I just went along with her. "And listen to your teachers. Don't behave in front of them as if you behave in the clan." "Okay," I said with a nod. "And eat your lunch on time." I said, "Okay, mommy, is there anything else?" She stood up after setting my hair and said, "No, that's it. Let's go." I grabbed her finger and followed her. It wasn't long before we got to the table where my uncle, father, and Neji were waiting. Uncle of mine asked, "Are you excited, Hinata?" I let him down by telling him, "No, uncle, I'm not." He looked at me like he didn't understand. Uncle, I'm so excited. Look at my smile," I said with a toothy grin. They laughed out loud all at once. Nazi asked her sister, "So, sis, are you going to make things as big as you did with me?" My words, "No, brother. If I do the same, then the value of your grand entrance will go down." I don't want that, made my brother's soft heart melt again. But there's another reason. My stupid brother is too young to understand it. He wasn't happy about it and asked, "So, who is going with you?" "I am," my dad answered. Neji said yes, and soon we were all done eating. My mom kissed me on the forehead and said, "I'll be waiting for you, sweetie." I looked at the sleeping babies and said, "Bye, mommy," as I left the house. I saw my dad at the clan gates with 2 Hyuga boys. It was Haku and Kimimaro, of course. When I said, "Let's go, father," I was in charge. As we walked to the academy, people looked at us, but none of us looked them in the white, pupilless eyes. "Princess, did you want something to eat when you got home?" My dad asked me as he looked down at me. I smiled and looked at him and said, "A lot of ice cream and apples." He asked, "Okay, anything else?" "Nope," I said with a sigh. We quickly got to the front door of the academy while talking with my dad. Many of the people there were familiar. One of them was the leader of the soon-to-be-dead clan, who was a traitor with the little Indra Otsutsuki. Then there was the group of 3 with their kids. There is a bug man with his little bug and someone who wants to be the coolest person in the group. I caught the eye of a cute girl with pink hair. Finally, there was my little fox. He was being ignored, but it didn't seem to bother him. He was already in his own world. He looked at me once and then pretended not to know me, like a good boy. He couldn't let people say that I was friends with a demon, could he? Hey. I laughed to myself as I thought about which jutsu I should teach him. "I will reward you for your maturity, my little fox," I said. Since my dad already filled out the paperwork for us to enroll, we would still pass even if we failed their lame test. My dad left the 3 of us to our own devices and then went to meet the other clan leaders to do his job as a clan leader. I asked him in a cocky way, "So, Kimimaro, what do you think about these kids?" I made sure that other kids could hear me. Kimimaro looked at the kids who were gathered with a blank look on his face. He was just as cocky as I was when he said, "They are a bunch of weaklings. You shouldn't fuss about them, Lady Hinata." I looked at him for a moment and thought, "I raised you well." He said, "HMPH, if you say so." I crossed my arms and huffed to make it look like I believed him. It's time to get the spoiled princess back to work. The adults soon left to go home, leaving the kids behind. Soon after, an adult teacher showed up in a swirl of leaves, which shocked the kids. The tough-looking man told the scared kids, "All of you stand in a line. We will test your skills as a shinobi. If you have enough will of fire, you will pass. If not, you will fail." Will of fire? This is where the brainwashing begins. In 5 to 6 years, the kids will turn into dogs with invisible leashes around their necks. I took a quick glance at Kimimaro, and with a nod, he broke the line. He spoke with a straight face and said, "You bunch of worms, get out of the way and let Lady Hinata take the test first. If you have any problems with it, come forward and face me." When they heard his strong voice, some kids from the civilians quickly moved out of the way. But some people who didn't know what was right for them yelled back, "Who do you think you are? We came here first, so it's our right to be first in line." Suddenly, the brave boy heard whispers in his ear, "My friend, if I were you, I wouldn't be so brave." Haku-chan smiled and walked up behind him to help the boy. The other children from the clan were either behind us in line, which was good or bad, because I couldn't see where they stood in the deep water. I had my hands together and hidden them under the sleeves of my kimono. I walked toward the teacher with a straight back. He or she was still shocked by our bravado. I looked at him and told him, "Let's start with the test. If you have any problems, tell my dad." When he heard my dad's name, he stopped being stressed out and said, No, please continue." I could hear kids talking behind my back. Some were gushing about how cool I am, while others said I was cocky, didn't need my 2 lackeys, and used my clan name to boss around. They were rooting for me to fail. It's fun to make other people jealous, but I ignored the stupid people and took the test. It was easy. I had to hold 5 kilograms of weight for 10 seconds, and then I had to run on a track with obstacles. It had to be passed in less than 30 seconds. Haku and Kimimaro were next after they passed the test. Then we were led to the room where Hiruzen-sama, the legendary Hokage, would poison us with his grandfatherly smile and fiery will. Since we were the first ones there, I picked a spot behind the wall. As soon as one child showed up after another, the room was full in front of my holy eyes. Because there were so many kids, they were split up into different classrooms based on their grades. Few of them would be able to train to be shinobi. Then, the legendary Hokage showed up dressed as the Hokage. The kids cheered, which made Hiruzen feel better about himself. When he felt better about himself, he waved his hand and the kids stopped yelling. Then he started, "From now on, you are proud students of Konoha Academy. Here, you will learn different ninja arts. The Will of Fire. The first Hokage. Sacrifice for the village. And this is the Will of Fire." As he finished his speech full of gods and magic, the kids fell asleep. The speaker gave a speech and then disappeared in a cloud of leaves. The students were then sent to their classes. It was already known that the clan kids would be in the same class as some maggots whose names I didn't think were important enough to remember. Soon, Haku and Kimimaro were sitting on either side of me on the middle bench. Crack. A sad loser with a scar on his face who had never done anything in his life greeted the class with a smile. It was the great Iruka sensei, who would not be so great in time and would be forgotten in these godforsaken academy rooms in the middle of nowhere. When I looked at the man, I smiled happily because my evil hands had changed his fate. Here, here, here. As the rabbit shrunk, Haku-chan asked it, "What happened, little rabbit? Why are you shrinking?" He asked, "Did that teacher scare you?" I turned my head to look at the rabbit and held out my arms, telling it, "Come to mama." The rabbit jumped out of his arms and sat down on my lap. "Good boy," I said as I gently patted his little head. "I am strong enough to crush anything, but I wouldn't do that to this cute bunny."
I will continue the story in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.